Congratulations. How you doing? It's all good to speak. How you doing? Sure, I'm doing. Yes.
Funny because we changed it because of how difficult it is. Still struggling. Before we begin, I'd like to remind you all that it is being live streamed to all of our friends and followers online. Please like and subscribe so you can follow us too. Sure.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, I'd like to call the June 10th, 2026 LCTC System Board of Supervisors meeting to order. At this time, I will ask Supervisor Kelly to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to invite Mr. Matthew Kern to administer the oath of office to our new student board members, Ms. Santana Lede and Mr. Kit Harrison. Please come forward.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Santana Lede,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States
that I will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States,
and the Constitution and the laws of this state.
and the Constitution and the laws of this state.
And I will faithfully and impartially discharge
I will faithfully and impartially discharge
and perform the duties incumbent upon me
and perform the duties incumbent upon me
as a student member of the Board of Supervisors
as a student member of the Board of Supervisors
for the Community and Technical College System,
for the Community and Technical College System,
according to the best of my ability and understanding.
according to the best of my ability and understanding.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you so much. This is always so exciting, man. Welcome aboard our student members. At this time, I'd like to read their bios. They're quite impressive. First, Ms. Santana Lede. She's a native of Lake Charles, Louisiana, and is in the process technology student at Sowell. And she maintains a 4.0 GPA. She serves as an administrative assistant for recruitment and career services, leads campus tours, and supports student career readiness. Ms. Lede previously worked in healthcare as a certified nurse assistant and certified clinical medical assistant before transitioning into the industrial field. She gained direct experience working refinery turnarounds and safety, rigging, forklift operations, and project support roles while pursuing her goal of becoming a process operator. Ms. Lede has received the Unsung Heroes Award from Zeta Phi Beta Sorority, Inc. and the Chancellor's Honor Award at Sowell. She remains active in student advocacy and community service with a passion for leadership, professional growth, and empowering others across Louisiana. Wow. And I'm going to go to Mr. Harrison, and I will allow both of you to give a brief statement upon completion. Mr. Kit Harrison is an experienced service and operations leader with more than 30 years in equipment repair, branch management, safety compliance, and technical training across the construction, industrial, and diesel engine industries. Currently entering his sophomore year at Bossier Parish Community College as a cybersecurity major, Kit maintains a 3.9 GPA. That's serious. Is a member of Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society and holds CompTIA Tech Plus and A Plus certifications, a U.S. Army National Guard veteran, and a former fighting vehicle mechanic. He's also active in veteran and community organizations supporting charitable causes and leadership initiatives throughout Louisiana. He resides in Shreveport, Louisiana, yay, me and Archie, and is a proud husband, father, and grandfather. I just think this is outstanding. We're always honored to have you student members on the board because You occupy a space that's important for us to know what's happening on the ground floor, right? So we're honored to have you at this time. Ms. Lede, you have a few words you'd like to say?
Yes, Chair. Thank y'all for this opportunity to join this wonderful board. It has been a great experience thus far. I'm excited to serve our students and make the best decision for our students. Leave a legacy.
Thank you, Chair. I'm looking forward to this year. Mine, it ends to a mean, I guess, because most of us in this room are getting older. And I thought, the best thing I can do during this year is to, kind of lead the young generation to, between my failures, my successes, maybe I can help them eliminate some of those so that they can take over and we can retire. And, I'm looking forward to being a part of this board and to help all the school systems and the younger generation. So thank you. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you both so very much. At this time, I would ask the school to conduct a roll call to establish a quorum.
Yes, sir, would be happy to do so. Chair Hardy
Here.
is present, Supervisor Smith is absent, Supervisor Butler McIntyre
I'm here.
is present, Supervisor Hall
Present.
is present, Supervisor Hogan
Present.
is present, Supervisor Collins is absent, Supervisor Kelly
Present.
is present, Supervisor McConduit is absent, Supervisor Mount
Present.
is present, Supervisor Robinson is absent, Supervisor Wilkinson
Present.
is present, Supervisor Leday
Present.
is present, Supervisor Harrison
Present.
is present. Chair, at this time, we do have a quorum for this meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Booth.
You're welcome.
And I also ask you at this time if there has been any request for public comment related to one of the enumerated agenda items on today's meeting agenda. There is a reminder that public comment must be related to a specific agenda item.
No, sir, we have not received public comment.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
At this time on the agenda, I'd like to request a motion to approve the June 10th, 2026 meeting agenda. Do I have a motion?
Okay. Motion by Supervisor Hogan, seconded by Supervisor Hall.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Are there objections? Hearing none, motion is approved. Next, I would like to request a motion to approve the April 8th, 2026 meeting minutes.
Motion by Supervisor Mount, seconded by Supervisor Wilkinson.
We have a motion and a second. Is there discussion? Are there objections? Hearing none, motion carries. I'd like to at this time present the consent agenda items for consideration by the board. We have a recommendation.
The staff recommends the board approve the consent agenda, which consists of agenda items H1 through H8.
We just need a motion.
We have a recommendation. Is there a motion?
Motion by Supervisor Butler McIntyre, seconded by Supervisor Hall.
We have a motion and a second. Is there a discussion? Or is there opposition? Hearing none, motion carries. At this time, I'll do the chair report. But first, I'd like to mention today we're formalizing a partnership that creates a clear and affordable pathway for Louisiana students to continue their educational journey through the LCTC system and Loyola University in New Orleans. Here to tell us more about the agreement with President Xavier Cole and Chancellor LaBeouf. Dr. Chandler LaBeouf, please come to the table.
Good morning, Chair Hardy, President Nelson, members of the board. This morning, we have the opportunity to formalize the transfer articulation agreement with Loyola University New Orleans. The agreement will establish a clear transfer pathway amongst our 12 colleges for our graduates to continue their education at Loyola University. It establishes a Bachelor's of Applied Science degree through a 2+2 model. So essentially, our students who are earning Associates of Art, Science, Applied Science, General Studies degrees will have an opportunity to transfer to Loyola as a junior with their credits and be able to continue their education. I'll turn it over to President Cole to talk more about the partnership with Loyola specifically, and then we'll transition to a signing ceremony.
Well, thank you all for the invitation. I'm really happy to be here with you all. Loyola, for several years now, has been trying to find more ways to connect with this particular system. We had started out with agreements one by one, person by person. And when we found out that we could do this with 12 at a time, we said yes to that. Now, understand there are 2 more still out there in North Louisiana that we need to catch. The Shreveport units, we're coming for that as well. What excites us most is that this creates an opportunity for any student with an associate's degree in the state of Louisiana to have an easy access or much easier, low friction access into Loyola through our online program. It is built for adult learners. We too want to contribute to workforce development and attainment in this state, and we see this as an excellent opportunity. So we're happy for the partnership. We look forward to more partnerships, and we also want to understand how we can better grow this, because eventually we'd love to also have people on ground at Loyola as well, but we're happy to start with this opportunity.
Great, thank you. We'll open it for any questions.
Are there questions?
If not, then we'll transition to the signing ceremony. So we'll have President Cole and President Nelson, members of the board, and chancellors present here at the table, and they're going to transition us really quickly for our public signing ceremonies.
And the board wants to come out and we'll fill in this space.
All right, so what do you want to hear?
Yeah, just
What are you talking about?
Can you make like 2 rows, a little bit shorter, pull up in the front, and those that are a little bit taller go in the back? We'll need to be within this table. So do you want to crowd in?
So President Cole sit in my chair, President Nelson.
Okay. Will you see here? Shoot.
I want right.
We need one more chair.
No,
No, just one.
they can stand around now. Okay, so if each of you want to sign the first one, get started.
Great.
Shaking hands, congratulations. And one photo all together. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. That's very.
You can keep.
Okay, thank you. No. Let's see. Let's see.
That's always very exciting to have cooperation among our institutions. It serves our students very, very well. Thank you again.
Thank you all.
Also, in talking about commencement, I had the pleasure of attending Spring Community College commencements and had the pleasure of giving the commencement address of your parishes. I spoke on behalf of the boards at the commencement of BRCC, and let me just say this. I continue to say sometimes I wonder about this and what we do, and we've talked about this many times, Supervisor Mount. When you're patrolling the halls of the legislature and people are pushing on you and you're dealing with budgets and leaving work, but whenever you attend a commencement, we understand why we do it. I've said many times, the Supervisor Hall knows I don't consider myself very emotional. Being from Shreveport, rough parts of Shreveport, but I well up every time I'm at a commencement. He's laughing. He knows my background. I don't want him to talk about it. But it's so very special when you see the families, you see the students, you see the pride. And every time I say, I don't know if I can do this anymore, I'm energized to continue to do it. It's just a very special time. Any others, board members would like to comment on any of the commencement that they attended and their experience? Yes, Supervisor Hogan.
I was at the Delta Community College the last two commencements, and I just would say I feel really good about our future based on what I see and what I hear and the support of families and the communities. So if you're having a difficult time, it's a great place to be, to just remind you of the work that we're doing, that it matters.
Yes, this is Supervisor McConkey.
Hi, good morning. I attended Delgado's, and it was fantastic. It was, probably more graduates I felt like we were on stage calling for the graduates forever. So that was a good thing, but I think record numbers of graduates, lots of energy, so wonderful occasion.
Before I turn it over to, President Nelson, I've got to say, I was attending the BRCC commencement, and of course, the speaker was the site manager for Exxon here in Baton Rouge. And she was absolutely phenomenal. But before she went up, I told her, I said, look, I have to give a commencement next week, so I might steal some of what you have to say. Well, when she talked about being, an undergrad, giving birth and having sex, I said, well, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to steal. Thanks very much. But it was absolutely moving. And so let me just say to Chancellor Smith, she's an outstanding choice. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. President Nelson, you have any comments?
Yeah, so I mean, I did 4 commencements. I started up with Bossier and ended at North Shore. So I think my jokes got a lot better. So I apologize. They started out not so great by North Shore. I think I was killing it. So I'll also point out that I did 3 in a row, and the middle one at Nunez was actually on my 40th birthday. So Nunez made me a birthday cake that they gave me on the stage. So I know there's a lot of competition on which college is my favorite, but step it up next year and make a pretty good cake. So I appreciate it all. It was really great. I think there's also a competition. If you go to multiple colleges, you see, there's a competition between the enthusiasm of the crowd on which one has it. So I think we need to bring the Tiger Stadium, earthquake monitor or whatever to some of those commencement ceremonies, and we'll start a competition, see who's the most enthusiastic. But it's a great, rewarding experience. I was really happy to participate, and looking forward to next year.
My advice, if you're expecting any money, laugh at his jokes.
And what I'd also like to do at this time is thank both Governor Landry and the Louisiana Legislature for their continued support for the LCTC schools in our system. We've had a few challenges past few years. I think the results of this past session were just outstanding for us. I think it demonstrates the confidence that the legislature and the governor's administration both have for our system. I think the special role that we play going forward, when you hear about approaching $100 billion in investment in Louisiana over the past 2 years, we stand ready to play our role in preparing the workforce to meet the demands. Mr. President, you have any words to say about our successful session?
I would just say, I shout out to my staff that worked really hard at the system office to make it all happen, as well as the chancellors. I think we worked very well together to try and advocate on behalf of the system and the students. I think we ended up working out really well. I mean, I think it was very successful. I mean, I know there was touch and go for a little while, but it really turned out pretty successfully. You know, it was really a group effort, team effort, and I think everybody did their part. And hopefully we can continue this going down the road. This will be the beginning.
We've had a few resignations. Supervisor Ellsberg, Supervisor Duke Lowry, and Supervisor Chad Moody have resigned their positions. But I'd like to say on behalf of the board, we thank them so very much for their service. I think without stealing his thunder, Supervisor Moody will still be serving the state in a different capacity on another board. But I thoroughly have enjoyed him. The good news is we will continue to have that relationship. We continue to have dialogue. So as we spread out, I think it just makes us better and stronger. So this time, President Nelson.
Excuse me, Chair. Just noting for the record, Supervisor McConaughey attends 10 a.m.
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. President, your report?
Sure. So the first item in the president's report, I'd like to invite Chancellor Tenney up from Nunez to provide an update on the environmental technician program. I think she has some guests as well.
Good morning, Chair Hardy, President Nelson, members of the board. Thank you for the opportunity this morning to share a program that truly is a very special and transformative program that we've developed at Nunez Community College in collaboration with some of our partners and stakeholders. As a community college, we feel that we have an obligation to provide access and opportunity to all members of our community. And as a result, we have taken steps to develop certain pipelines, and one of which we are very proud of our dual enrollment pipelines, bringing programs to the K-12 sector. And speaking of graduations this year, we've awarded over 330 credentials to high school students who have career experiences and academic experiences with Nunez Community College. Of those 330 students, there is a population that we are incredibly proud of, as we've developed a program as an environmental technician opportunity. And this program was crafted and customized specifically for individuals who have certain exceptionalities. And those individuals typically, we've learned through working with our superintendent, oftentimes age out and they don't have an opportunity to enter the workforce. And our friend Susie Showen at LA Works often reminds us, when we have people on the sidelines of the workforce, and particularly individuals with exceptionalities, oftentimes there's another individual at home with that person. And so it's a very powerful addition to workforce when you're able to find employment. So we've worked to develop an environmental technician program with our partners. And I have with me today, Mr. Reggie Poche, who is our interim vice chancellor of strategic partnerships and engagement, who was instrumental in helping to create the curriculum for the program, as well as, I just want to say, one of our most rock star faculty members on our college roster as an employee, Ms. Luva Akwe, who has a phenomenal story working for us as one of our custodial staff, who then went to training and is now the faculty member who is training this cohort of students, and she'll share her story. And Mr. Joe Scipione from St. Bernard Parish School System. So I'll turn it over to them to explain the program.
Thank you, Dr. Tenney. It's my pleasure to talk about this program because it was basically it's a really good example of collaboration between industry, our high school partners, and the college, looking at what we can do to serve this population. So what we did in our research is we partnered with the International Sanitary Supply Association. Now, this is an association that credentials custodial staff on the codes of practice for cleaning and sanitation, and it's an international certification that they bestow upon their completers. So custodial staff can get this certification and they can work literally anywhere in the world following the same codes of practice. So we partnered with ISSA, who was very happy to do this, to modify the curriculum for these students with exceptionalities without changing the content of the curriculum. The outcomes of the courses are the same. And once we repackaged the curriculum together, we brought it to St. Bernard Parish Public Schools, who provided us with the students. Luba underwent training and the program started. The great thing about this program is that it's replicable. And as a matter of fact, ISSA has now received a registered apprenticeship status for this program, and they plan on branching out across the country with this credential that we help them develop. We are also looking for our first registered apprenticeship partner for our local students as well. So all that work, it took about 6 months for us to get it all together, but the program so far has been a success, and I think we had a 100% completion rate. But I'll let Joe and Luba talk about their experiences. Joe can explain who this program served and what the benefit of that program is for those specific students. And I would love for Luba to share a little bit about her just experience working with these students day to day for the semester.
Yes. Morning, everybody. I'm from St. Bernard Parish Public Schools. I supervise secondary special education. And so what we were seeing was for students with intellectual disabilities and developmental disabilities, more significant disabilities, there's something called the school, you've heard the school to prison pipeline. For this population of students, what we're trying to combat is the school to couch pipeline, where nationwide, approximately 3% of people in this group have taken college classes at all, and about only 18% are employed. So many young adults are home, not involved in the workforce, and like Dr. Tenney said, and that also pulls another adult, a caretaker. And if you have someone in your family with a disability, if you know someone who knows someone with a disability, it's an enormous, stressor and drain, both on the young adult, but then also on the parents or the caretakers. And their number one thing is, what if something happens to me? I want my young child, like we all do with any kid, we want all of our kids to have somewhere to go, a place to be, a person to be, real purpose, and to be as independent as possible, right? So that's what we worked. Nunez has been such an unbelievable partner with us, where we built this from the ground up with these students in mind, trying to find classes and amazing teachers that would give them the support, the coaching, the certification, the credentials, the expertise, so that they were prepared and would excel at the job site. Because we knew our kids have a ton to offer. We know they make every room they walk in better. And we knew that once they got into the jobs, if we prepared them and gave them the support both before and during the jobs, they would excel. And that's exactly what happened. So they were at Nunez 4 days a week, ingrained, integral to the Nunez community. They're in the lounges, they're in the library, they're in the classrooms. An amazing inclusive experience for them. But then also the coursework itself wasn't just let's get them on the college campus and audit some classes. It was designed to prepare them to be successful at a wide range of jobs. And that's exactly what happened. They were so well prepared by Ms. Liu, at one of the job site visits they did at Oshner. The kids are pointing out different things. Ms. Liu told me this, Ms. Liu told me that. Things the adults didn't even know with them. And Oshner was so impressed that they offered a full-time internship for our program. But it's not just Oshner. We had over 16 business partners. Many of the kids had multiple internships throughout this year. And what we're really excited about is 100% of the kids in the program earned the basic and advanced custodial technician credential. 100% of the kids took the courses all year and did well, and 100% of our graduates. So some kids are returning next year. We got some new kids, but then 100% of our kids who graduated a couple of weeks ago are employed. And that's the main thing really is the whole point of this program is they have jobs. So that is a huge success and a huge testament to St. Bernard Parish, to Nunez, to, we have partnership with LSU Paycheck as well. All of our community partners. And I think we're super proud of this program. We do think it's replicable across the state. And, from the K-12 side, we are hoping that the Department of Education and the Louisiana Workforce Commission really recognizes and awards and recognizes these credentials for this group of students.
I am so grateful for this opportunity. The students are amazing. As you said, they are neurodivergent students. And so they operate at a higher level capacity. However, we have customized the instruction and learning specifically to them. So they learn, the importance of wearing their PPE. And they know, why it's for the health and safety, not only of themselves, but for the community, for the rest of the campus. And so they receive 2 certifications, the basic and advanced. In the advanced, they actually, both in basic and advanced, they have classroom knowledge, textbook knowledge, but they also get to apply the skills and knowledge that they learn in the classroom hands-on. real world application, real world hands-on experience with the machines and the equipment. I mean, big machines and really expensive. Everything was smack brand new. And so they were so excited. We received lots of requests for them to come to different offices around the campus to do when we did the auditorium, they were like the high school musical in there, using the machines. And I'm serious, it was so fun. They are amazing students. And so I'm just so grateful for the opportunity. They are also, did you mention that the certification is international, meaning that they can go anywhere? There are companies within the United States and outside of the United States abroad that certification, and it's good for like 2 years. And there's always opportunity.
That is outstanding. Any other comments from the board? One of the things I do have a little STEM background, know a little bit about math. I don't think you can exceed 100%. But any comments, questions from the board?
Well, I started out as a kindergarten teacher, but as a assistant principal at one of the largest elementary schools that house some special needs kids and watched them get to high school and then wonder what happened. I just kept smiling as you talk, because I could just imagine looking at some of them now, if they would have had this opportunity. This is just marvelous. Just to think of them being on a college campus for some of them, I can see them bragging right now. But thank you, and thank you. And I wrote the word replicable. I hope that it resonates with others and they see what this has done. You all kept smiling, so I kept smiling. So again, thank you. And I think this is so great for a whole population that we have not tapped on the shoulder and said, we're doing this for you. So again, thank you. This is marvelous.
I did hear 100% placement job.
Yes, sir.
So they didn't do just 5 million.
Yes. In a wide range of jobs within hospitality. It's one of the things where the stuff they're learning at Nunez is applicable and transferable in a wide range of jobs. If you have a baseline expertise in professional cleaning and sanitation, all these things, think about all the people we work with that don't have, like restaurants, hotels, sheriff's office, coffee houses, catering companies, the library, the vet, all these different places are where the kids are working. So it's really nowhere that they can't work. And so then we really can meet, like, what is this kid individually? This is what college is about, right? What are you interested in? But we're going to give you this really important skills that you can use wherever you go.
And I would just close by saying, yes, they are. We learned about this program and customized it from a program in Maryland initially, but they're working in airports, they're working in government offices and school systems and so forth. But even in addition to the job, it's the opportunity for people to live out a purpose as well. And it really is impacting their families. And so this has just been a really transformative and powerful program. And we're just happy to have the partnership that we have and the team that we have at Nunez. I can't bake a cake for everybody that's there, but I wish I could, because we just have a phenomenal team and just really proud of the work that's getting done there.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we would also like to recognize the Nunez Pelican Leadership Development Institute, who I believe are here. If you guys want to stand up. Gonna go from the So the Pelican Leadership Development Institute is designed to help faculty and staff develop leadership, professional and personal growth skills through mentoring, service, training, and campus engagement opportunities. This is the 4th cohort. So thank you for coming. Congratulations. The next item I'd like to recognize our new System VP of Technology, Mr. Todd Kruger. Here he is. So, Todd brings more than 20 years of higher education IT leadership experience and a strong track record of aligning technology strategy with institutional mission and student success. He's coming to us from Tarrant County College, where he served as the Chief Information Officer, overseeing a comprehensive technology enterprise. His work is focused on strengthening infrastructure, advancing digital transformation, improving cybersecurity, and building a culture of collaboration and service. Throughout his career, Todd has demonstrated the ability to elevate technology as a strategic asset, where he has enhanced operations and has driven measurable improvements in performance and outcomes. Todd will lead our system-wide strategy, technology strategy, infrastructure, and transformation efforts. He joins us at a critical time. We're trying to strengthen our systems, improve user experience, and ensure we're positioned to meet the evolving needs of our colleges and state. We'd be happy to know we've had a lot of meetings since we, made Todd his offer and he accepted, where we've said, okay, well, this sounds like a Todd problem. We can't wait for him to get here. And so I think we had a whole list of those things that he got on Monday when he started. So we're excited to have him. We have a lot of things, a lot of opportunity, and I think it's going to be a great opportunity for us all. So thank you, Todd. Welcome to the team. We're all excited about it. Next, I'd like to invite Dr. LaBeouf to come up and give an update on Skills USA. Got to spend last week in Atlanta.
Good morning again. Every year we spend time giving an annual update from the state skills and then the national skills perspective as well. Last week was the National Skills Leadership and sort of competition conference in Atlanta, Georgia. We had 56 students from across our 12 colleges attend, as well as faculty, advisors, and support team to make sure that our students had the resources they needed to compete nationally amongst other students across the nation. Of the 56 students, I'm happy to report we had 11 national medals earned, 5 gold, 5 silver, and 1 bronze. There were 20 skill point certificates also earned for students who received 75% or higher in the national competitions, and then 11 professional certifications earned through leadership and industrial training opportunities that happened during the conference as continuing education. The gold medalist came from South Louisiana Community College and North Shore Technical Community College and their students. And then medal winning students represented programs such as medical assisting, health knowledge bowl, screen printing technology, video news production, and early childhood education. So again, happy to report out that of the 56 students, this is the winners and the medalists that we received this year, which is one of the highest, and we'll continue to grow the program. And we just thank the chancellors for their support, the advisors, the faculty members, and our system staff, especially Mr. Quentin Kelly, who manages the program for us. So any questions? Thank you.
So next we'd like to roll into the college updates. Some updates from across the state. For North Shore Technical Community College celebrated a historic milestone in its 2026 commencement ceremony. They awarded a record-breaking 987, or credentials to a record-breaking 987 graduates, and that represented a 25% increase over the previous record of 788 graduates. That was just last year. So this reflects NTCC's continued growth in enrollment, student success, and workforce impact. At BRCC, at their commencement this year, they graduated the largest number of high school students. Over 200 received their associate's degrees. That's the most ever in Louisiana history. Delgado, whom I was at their commencement as well, right? So they conferred degrees to approximately 1,846 graduates during their spring commencement at the UNO Lakefront Arena. It was a historic moment for graduates who comprised the largest graduating class in Delgado's 140-year history, and I shook all of their hands. So it was, it went on for a little while. Collectively, the graduates earned 2,126 associate's degrees and certificates. At Bossier Parish Community College, who I also shook all their hands. They were official partners in Amazon's Career Choice Program, which is a national initiative that Amazon hourly employees to give them an opportunity to advance their careers through education and training. Through this partnership, BIPSI is offering a technical certificate in industrial technology. It blends classroom instruction and hands-on experience. This partnership reflects years of investment in BIPSI's workforce programs, represents significant opportunities to support incumbent workers and meet regional talent needs and expand future collaboration with Amazon. Nunez on May 18th, they hosted a diplomatic delegation from Africa representing 5 different countries. And this visit was coordinated with the Global New Orleans as part of the U.S. Department of State's International Visitor Leadership Program. The delegation included 9 visitors from 6 African countries who participated in a roundtable discussion with Nunez leadership on workforce development and career and technical education. At Fletcher Technical Community College on July 9th, they'll celebrate their 75th anniversary of its opening, and they'll be hosting a 1950s themed gala. I would love for the board to attend if they can. At Central Louisiana Technical Community College, wanted to announce that they received a donation of $2 million from a anonymous partner. But they're looking forward to recognize them publicly in the near future. LCTC, Chancellor Vincent June continues to receive national recognition for leadership and institutional impact. Dr. June was recently honored with the Case Chief Executive Leadership Award, recognizing transformational leadership and advancement in higher education, and was named a Studer Education Difference Maker for his commitment to student success, workforce alignment, and community impact. These recognitions reflect Dr. June's leadership and collective efforts of the college to advance student achievement, strengthen partnerships, and support economic growth throughout Acadia and beyond. Dr. June is here if we want to give him a round of applause. Finally, Delta Community College continues to excel in workforce development and academic quality and student leadership. In response to the rapid growing workforce demands in Northeast Louisiana, particularly associated with major data center development, the college had launched a targeted training program for students to immediate employment in high demand fields. The first cohort in the construction, craft, labor, and data center technician programs achieves exceptional outcomes, including 100% retention, completion, and job placement rates. Partnerships with leading industry employers such as IES Communications, CBRE, Turner Construction, and DPR Construction have established clear pathways to employment for graduates. That concludes our college updates, Mr. Chair. If we want to go on to the board development.
Thank you. We'll move to the academics. At this time, I would ask Supervisor McConduit, are you prepared to present the academic action items for consideration by the board?
I am. Chair, we have to do the board development.
We do the board development.
Okay.
We have a legislative update for our school initiative.
Good morning again. I'll give a brief update on both items related to board development. We spent some time this morning just giving an overview already of the 2026 regular legislative session. I'll dive a little deeper into some of the numbers to put together some of the success that was mentioned this morning around session. As you'll recall, back when we started in March and at the board meeting, we presented on the bills and the time and the framework. At the time, there were over 2,000 bills filed that we were working through, some that impacted our system directly, indirectly, and then many other bills out there that had no impact, but ultimately we tracked that work. Just to report high level from a budgetary standpoint, we secured an additional 15 million in HB1 appropriations for a few of our institutions. And those are listed as Delgado, River Parishes, Fletcher, and Nunez Community College. There was an additional 8 million in supplemental appropriations, a large portion of that going to River Parishes, specifically for their new training site in the Hyundai Training Partnership and that important work. And then there was an additional 14.5 million added into the MJ Foster Promise Fund, bringing that fund to 25 million. So over the past 2 years, we ultimately talked about they funded that program at 10.5 million. If there were extra dollars they allocated, now they actually took the program this year to 25 million. So this coming year, our colleges are going to be ready to launch the work. And hopefully there's money for the spring semester that carries over where that hasn't been historically. The higher education funding formula specifically, as mentioned earlier, there was a shift in that funding formula for about 3.3 million from four-year institutions to LCTC. There was an additional 56 million added into the funding formula, and that results in about 16 million addition for our institutions. And so it helps brings the stability, but also, as mentioned, years of work waiting to actually receive the fruits of that labor for our institution. And there's still work to do around the funding formula, which a task force has been created for higher education funding formula as well as MFP. And then the capital investments, when you look at HB2, there was over 126 million in capital projects related for our system specifically. When you look non-funding related bills, there were a few bills that we were working directly, as I had mentioned back in March and April at the board meeting around the education framework, one of those being the TOPS Tech expansion. That bill did pass, ultimately creates additional flexibility around our students, so allows them now to attend part-time instead of full-time, as well as adds a third criteria of dual enrollment aspect for individuals to qualify for TOPS Tech. So we're going to continue to work that and try to make the opportunity for TOPS Tech expansion work for our state and for our students. There was also a workforce instructor capacity investment program. It established a mechanism that would allow us to eventually continue to seek funding that allows us to help support faculty members in high cost programs and high demand fields. So really bringing individuals from industry that we may struggle to afford and helping put some funding there to help us build that workforce capacity for those programs. There was a CDL pilot program asking for one of our institutions to pilot with a school district to introduce the career and early career outreach around CDL programming. And so we're going to partner on that work. And then ultimately, there were a few other education related dual enrollment TOPS bills and such, plumbing bills, et cetera, that indirect or directly help the system grow. And so we're going to continue to partner where we can and do the work to move it forward. But ultimately, that is the high level. We did provide each of you with a high level overview of the legislative session for the board. And so if you have any questions, I'll open it up for questions or comments.
First of all, congratulations. This is fantastic. A quick question. You said on the expansion of TOPS Tech that it also includes dual enrollment. So for our high school students, similar to the program we just heard about, are they utilizing MFP dollars or TOPS Tech dollars when they do the dual enrollment with our colleges?
So that's a great question. So when our students are enrolled in dual enrollment, the school system, sometimes uses supplemental course academy funds to help fund that, or they'll look for other funds within their budget. But the dual enrollment rates in which colleges or institutions charge has sort of been all over the place. So there was a bill this session that started to create a uniformed process for dual enrollment going forward. So a streamlined application process, and essentially requesting that we all look 2 year and 4 years at the pricing in which we're charging. But it can come from SEA. There is potential MFP, but not to the full amount, depending on the budgets built. But TOPS Tech would be for an individual that wants to move into the next phase of their coursework outside of high school and be eligible to continue their education. Now, instead of meeting 2 of the options, they have a 3rd option that could be considered for eligibility.
Great. Thank you.
Other questions? Anything further, Dr. LeBeau?
Nothing else related to legislative advocacy report. I'll just give a high level update on the LCT Charter School Initiative. Ultimately, there's been conversation for the last 6 months or so, even before the last 6 months. So at some point periodically within our system in the last 5 or 6 years, even longer, there's been conversation about a potential option to entertain our charter school network and also spinning off a charter school that would help foster the students and meet students where they are in a non-traditional setting that would help them progress earlier through their career opportunities into the college space as well, earning certificates, degrees, and diplomas. So back in January, we began to analyze our data specifically around our students to understand what we were serving in the adult education program, and specifically those that are of high school age. As a reminder, most of our adult education students, the funds for those programs come from WIOA and federally. We get a small portion of state dollars. And so when you're looking at the amount of students we need to serve across the state, and roughly that budget does not give us the full tank of gas with the funding we do receive to reach everyone. And so when we started to look at, well, there's a population of about 55 to 6,500 high school age students that we serve, that we get no funding in addition to that to serve, meaning back to your point, Supervisor McConaughey, we get $0 from MFP to serve those students. And so it became a conversation around, well, there's one population that we could serve by offering them the aspect that they don't have to go to high school, traditionally 8 to 5, that we can create a hybrid and or a non-traditional model that's unique for our students in that population. In addition to, there may be students who are academically inclined and want to opt out and go that route as well, and not necessarily be in that traditional high school experience. And so we know based off the data that there are 7,500 students leaving annually from earning an opportunity for a diploma. 5,500 of those may enroll in our institutions through our adult education programs at some point. There are also, in addition to that, 14,000 dual enrollment students statewide, in which 81% of those are receiving CTE courses within our institutions as well through dual enrollment. So we don't want to impact the dual enrollment partnerships. We want to be clear of that. We don't want to impact the current processes that are happening today. We want to add on and supplement that as opportunity and expanding that access. So what we have done is prepared a letter of intent that has been submitted to school choice, ultimately in saying that we will serve students in 11th and 12th grade first, and then we will eventually work our way down to 9th grade versus going from 9th grade up. We want to capture those who are ready and available today before they get to that point that maybe they choose to drop or choose to do something different, that we can capture them, give them that credential, give them that certificate with that high school diploma so that they're stable and ready to go to the workplace. At the same time, we are preparing our application to submit for July, and then it would be a December timeframe approval, which we would potentially plan to start, if approved, the school August of 2027. We will create a statewide charter entity. We've already formed the entity, and we will have pods across the state. So there won't be multiple charter schools. There'll be one charter school with multiple pods and learning sites across the state, which will be in partnership with our institutions and housed at our institutions. So there won't necessarily be additional expenses on top of having to build new facilities potentially, or operating old facilities and schools and communities. We will try to leverage the resources that we do have, recognizing there will be expenses, and we'll try to balance those budgets. At the same time, we'll have access to the MFP to help support this work in the right framework. So we did provide a sort of overview of the process on the governance layout for the charter school, the timeline, and sort of some FAQs around who would we serve, what credentials would be earned, the flexible meaning and the practice of the schedule. Will it affect current college operations? You know, what happens specifically around current partnerships that are already there? As I mentioned, our goal is not to impact those. So I'll open it up for any questions, but we are working diligently at creating the next steps and submitting our application in July to school choice.
MFP dollars follow the student, right?
Yes, in theory they should, but they don't all.
That's a fact.
Yes.
What are some of the exceptions?
Well, the individual who may choose to enroll in our adult ed program, who is a high school age, that should follow the student, but it does not. Earning their high school equivalency.
Are there other questions?
I have so many. First of all, I think it's a fantastic idea to explore. I think about it in a way of like ANOCA, right? A New Orleans Center for Creative Arts, where students sometimes they come from all over, but they split time. They split half of their time at their traditional high school, half of their time at NOCA, or they can be a fully enrolled NOCA student. So would that be similar in this case? And in that, would they graduate with a diploma from, what is the name of this school?
So this would be LCTC Charter School. They will graduate from the charter school with a high school diploma, with an opportunity to graduate from the local community college with a technical diploma or associate's degree as well.
So they
or
would-
just the high school diploma, depending on their interest.
So they would in effect transfer from their current high school. If they're going to be a rising junior or senior, they would transfer into this high school.
They would remain in the charter school aspect and take college level courses to earn. So think of a dual enrollment partnership or early college academy partnerships that currently exist, similar structure.
Okay. And so, but that would be, so if the pods are housed on the college campuses, then the students would report
To the pod that they're, yes.
to that pod.
Yes.
And what about like the extracurriculars?
So we're working through that. That has ultimately come up. Same thing as the requirement that LDOE and school choice requires around special education resources. We recognize that. We're going to infuse those resources where they don't exist. We're going to leverage a lot of our student support services roles that we currently have and framework as well. But for extracurriculars, for example, if an institution does not have it, then we can look at partnerships with local YMCAs or golf courses to get the PE requirement, et cetera, et cetera. So it happens already in certain charter school frameworks. If they don't offer it on the campus, they can seek it elsewhere. There's online options for some of those resources as well. So we will be building those aspects in.
What about the board? Because each charter entity has a board.
Yes, great question. So we have formed the charter entity. Ultimately, we have to recruit 7 board members at minimum when we apply. So we're working through that. That's a mixture of individuals within the community college system, individuals who have experience in K-12, and community members as well. And so that board will expand over time. We're also in the process of hiring a director who has charter school experience to lead these efforts and report to that board as well.
Awesome. And all of our colleges are going to participate?
We, in hopes, in theory, yes, we are recognized that our colleges all have current partnerships as well. So we've got to evaluate those as we go and grow. But in theory, that would be our goal, to be able to support all across the state and in communities where it doesn't exist, to help those communities as well.
Awesome. I will.
Further questions?
No, I'm fine. I think it's great. We can think about it.
Yes, there's a lot here. I'm learning as we go.
It's a great endeavor. So I'm happy to stay close to it
Yes,
with you.
great, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. LaBeouf. Is there anything further?
Nothing related further to the board development.
Okay, well, Supervisor Hollins, in his absence, is actually taking care of some other business before the board briefings for this afternoon. So, Supervisor, we're trying to do it, as I understand, you're willing to present the academic action item for consideration by the board?
Absolutely, Dr. LaBeouf, and I will keep it going.
Great.
Roll with it.
The first is an accreditation update.
Great, thank you. So this is for informational purposes only. We've routinely at every board meeting focused on giving an accreditation update. As you all know, specifically as Northwest was working through its accreditation, I'm happy to say, as we mentioned at the last board meeting, their on-site review was completed and was done, and they were recommended to the SACS June board meeting for approval. The SACS June board meeting is actually happening this week. So we will know tomorrow from Chancellor Spillers on their status, and we'll make sure that the board is aware. But kudos to their team, kudos to our academic education team here at the system of working diligently over the last 2 years to help Northwest get to its accreditation status, as well as at this point, I think we can celebrate that all 12 of our institutions have reached that SAC COC accreditation, considering that Northwest does get its final approval tomorrow.
Wonderful. So that was just for board information. The next item on the agenda is Program Health Index.
Yes, so this again is for informational purposes only. Annually, we take an opportunity to review sort of a mixture of programs through our Program Health Index. So this particular year, we looked at 119 programs. As a reminder, all programs are assessed once every 3 years. So we don't assess all every year, but we break them up and assess a certain number. So of the 119 programs that were assessed through the Performance Health Index, through our academic and education training team, ultimately, many of them were recommended to continue. 5 of those were recommended for some modification as you look at the state's workforce demand to adjusting. And then 2 of them were recommended for expansion. Maybe there was a need in the area that requires them to expand a level up or a level down, depending on the institution. And so annually, we assess those programs, looking at the workforce demand alignment, along with the performance programs of each program, and the fiscal health of each program. And so in front of you is just the list. And we're here to say we've assessed those and make no further recommendations. And ultimately, it's just for information purposes only.
Great. Okay, so moving on to action item number 3, revisions to the LCTCS policy number 1.011 accreditation.
Yes, so we took this policy forward last board meeting for review and advisement. As mentioned, this policy is recommending some changes. The changes to the policy, 1, take out the language as a reminder that the Board of Supervisors specifically stated that we have a preferable option as using SAC COC as a creditor. And as we know, there was the accreditation task force that happened last year and throughout this legislative session with a bill that says our state will be open to all of the different 6 to 8 appropriate accreditors that exist. And so it helps us create that flexibility there. It also put in some Title IV language related to federal student aid into the policy. That's important in alignment to the accreditation aspect. So I'll read the recommendation. Staff recommends that the LCTC Board of Supervisors approve the attached revisions to LCTC System Policy 1.001 accreditation.
011.
Yeah, 1.011. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. You've heard the recommendation. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion by Supervisor Hogan, seconded by Supervisor Butler McIntyre.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, the motion carries. We'll move on to item number 4, revisions to LCTC System Policy number 2.005, student organizations.
Yes, thank you. So the student organization policy was brought forward for review and advisement last meeting. Ultimately, as mentioned, the student organizations are now required to do 2 hours of hazing prevention to all members, prospective members, and anyone employed or volunteers within student organizations. So what this ultimately does is instead of 1 hour of training, you have to do 2 hours, and not just students, but any faculty, advisors, members associated with that student organization, and making sure that they are compliant and understand the hazing and the importance of prevention on college campuses. It also revises some of the language that was related to shall, changes that to may, providing colleges that flexibility as it related to tuition waivers for SGA executive boards. So I'll read the recommendation. Staff recommends that LCTC Board of Supervisors approve the attached revisions to LCTC System Policy 2.005, student organizations.
Thank you. You've heard the recommendation. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion by Supervisor Ledet, seconded by Supervisor Wilkinson.
Any discussion? Hearing none, motion approved.
Chair, just a point of order, we do need to see if there are any objections.
Any objections? Sorry, any objections? Okay. Hearing none. We'll move forward. The item number 5, revisions to LCTC System Policy number 2.012, student referenda.
Yes. Again, this policy was brought forward related to the student referenda. Ultimately, the policy at the time explained that any student involving fees must receive prior approval by the board because those fees became elected through state governed funds. It outlined the process of approvals. And as mentioned, the revision was really to help students navigate when they get to create a new student referendum that includes maybe increasing a student activity fee or a student government fee. Where do they go in that process, and who do they seek the approvals once they start creating the framework? It ultimately had things listed like seek your vice chancellors specifically at institutions, or the technical college director back when we had LCT in operation. So what this does is clean that up to help students navigate that maybe your institution has a chief student affairs officer, maybe it has a director. So ultimately it says go to your chief, you're the leader of student affairs to help you navigate the policy process and procedure. So I'll read the recommendation. Staff recommends that the LCTC System Board of Supervisors approve the attached revisions to LCTC System Policy 2.012, student referenda.
Thank you. You've heard the recommendation. Is there a motion?
Motion by Supervisor Mount, seconded by Supervisor Harrison.
Is there any discussion on the matter? Any opposition? Hearing none, motion carries. And finally, item number 6 is for review and advisement. New LCTC System Policy number 2.024. Student Policy on Prohibition and Prevention of Discrimination, Harassment, and Retaliation.
Yes, so this policy for review and advisement was created to ensure that all of our colleges maintain an environment free of anti-Semitism, discrimination, harassment, or retaliation. It outlines the protections, the reporting procedures, and institutional responsibilities specifically related to students. Currently, the system does not have a general student anti-discrimination policy. The policy related to the student policy mirrors the language that we added for the LCTC employee policy that was up for review and advisement last board meeting, approval this board meeting. So we wanted to make sure that there's a reflection in both as our students work closely with faculty and staff, but at the same time, making sure that there's a clear policy for students as well to follow. So I'll read the recommendation. Staff recommends that the LCTC System Board of Supervisors accept for review and advisement the new LCTC policy 2.024 student policy on prohibition and prevention of discrimination, harassment, and retaliation.
Great. There's no action required there, but I do want to circle back to item 3, the revision to LCTC system policy number 1.011 on accreditation, and just ask if there was any objection to that. Thank you. That is the end of the academic report.
Yes, thank you.
And we'll move forward with facilities. Mr. Comer, what is the table? In the absence of the chair and vice chair of facilities committee, I will present the facilities action items for consideration by the board, beginning with the demolition of building at Delgado Community College, Manhattan campus.
Thank you, Chair Hardy, President Nelson, members on the microphone today, so everybody's gonna hear me in the room, do the back. Yeah, so this is a proposal for a building for demolition at the Manhattan campus. The facility is more than 45 years old, is currently vacant. It's in a state of significant disrepair. It's a 29,000 square feet area. It was closed in 2015. It was further damaged in 2021 through Hurricane Ida. So there's no use for this moving forward. So we want to go ahead and proceed with approval to work on the demolition approvals. Following board approval, we'll work on the cost estimates for the project. So this gets the ball rolling to move forward. Staff recommends the LCTC System Board of Supervisors authorize the system president and the chancellor of Delgado Community College to complete all necessary requirements and execute all documents related to the demolition of the building located at the Manhattan campus. Final approval for the demolition must be obtained from the Office of Facility Planning and Control.
You have further recommendations. Is there a motion?
Motion by Supervisor Hall, second by Supervisor Butler McIntyre.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there discussion? Or there objections? Hearing none, motion carried. Next item, acceptance of property donation for the benefit of North Shore Technical Community.
Development, which is financed through Act 35 of the 2025 regular legislative session. We'll talk more about that later on in the agenda here. We had a discussion about some of this property at the December meeting. The board gave us the college approval to proceed with potential acquisition of property. This is the donation portion of that agreement between North Oaks Health System and North Shore. It's a 15-acre tract of land, which will allow us to proceed with the construction of this facility. The acquisition portion, which you already talked about, that's going to be financed through Act 35. And so this will complete the whole site for that campus. Staff recommends that the LCTC System Board of Supervisors accept the donation of property from North Oaks Health System through the North Shore Technical Community College Foundation for the benefit of North Shore Technical Community College, and authorize the system president and the chancellor of North Shore to negotiate and execute all documents necessary for this transfer. Upon execution, the transaction shall be properly filed with the local clerk of court and the state land office in accordance with applicable laws and regulations.
You have further recommendation. Is there a motion?
Motion by Supervisor Wilkinson, second by Supervisor McConaughey.
Moved and seconded. Is there discussion? Are there objections? Hearing none, motion carries. Next item, lease agreement between LCTC System Board of Supervisors on behalf of Beaufort Parish Community College and Earth Movers Construction.
So this item is for BIPC. They're proposing to provide a heavy equipment operations program in the Manny Saving Parish area.
As part of that process, the college sought out a local partner who could help provide physical resources, equipment, and operational support. As part of that review, they've identified earth movers, which is really the only known provider in that area, who are able and willing to offer that scope of resources. So this would be an all-inclusive lease that's going to include basically everything: property, access, equipment, support to run that program. The final lease cost has not been negotiated, but the college does propose to use self-generated revenue to cover the cost of that lease. And staff recommends that the LCTC System Board of Supervisors authorize the system president and the chancellor of Bossier Parish Community College to negotiate and execute all documents necessary to enter into a lease agreement with Earth Movers Construction for the use of the facility located at 220 McDonald's Drive, Manny, Louisiana. This agreement must be filed with the local clerk of court.
You've heard the recommendation. Is there a motion?
Motion by Supervisor Hall, seconded by Supervisor Harrison.
Been moved and seconded. Is there a discussion?
I
A good discussion? This is time for discussion.
So I just want to make sure that, it's vague on the lease details. And I know that you said that it's going to be covered with self-generated funds. How confident do we feel in that?
So this, I think the chancellor can answer that question probably more directly.
Yeah, that would be.
Okay.
Hey, Chairman Hardy, President Nelson, Supervisor McConduit, happy to answer that question. Any other questions that folks might have? I think the beauty of this all-inclusive, lease agreement leading into training and heavy equipment operation is that we're not sure. So this is a one-year pilot. We've got a partner who can provide everything from the facilities, where the training, the classroom facility, the equipment, the maintenance, the fuel. And so we really do believe that that the demand will be there to cover the costs. Otherwise, we wouldn't be getting involved. But this is an opportunity for us to test that without having to come up with a couple of $1 million to really stand up our very own heavy equipment operator program.
Okay, so it's just a year.
It is.
So not long term. Okay.
Happy to come back in a year and say that this is that we've proven the concept and we're looking to scale this throughout our region.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Chancellor. So we have a motion and a second. Again, any discussion? Any further discussion or the objections? Hearing none, motion carries. Next item, cooperative endeavor agreement between LCTC System Board of Supervisors on behalf of North Shore Technical Community College and Ochsner Clinic Foundation.
Yeah, so this is an agreement based upon work that North Shore has been doing as part of the Healthcare Employment Reinvestment Opportunity Grant Program, the HERO Grant Program with LDH. They're seeking to provide a surgical technician program and related training in the Lacombe area. So as part of that, they sought out a partner that could provide resources, equipment, access, and support. So similar to what we just talked about with IPSI, right? We're looking at this in North Shore in the same type of kind of all-inclusive fashion. As part of that review, the primary company they decided to work with is Ochsner Clinic Foundation. It's the only known provider in the area who's able to provide what the college needs. So they are currently a subleasee to a property whose prime leasee is Bayron OCF Lacombe Leasing LLC. So college in the system would be a subleasee to that original agreement. Would provide over 23,000 square feet of space. That agreement includes a combination of land, furniture, janitorial maintenance, etc. As part of the grant program, it requires matching funds from a community partner to provide a 50-50 match with the college. So in terms of impact on the college, it really would be a $0 per month lease. So, very, very favorable in that regard. Staff recommends that the LCTC System Board of Supervisors authorize the system president and the chancellor of North Shore Technical Community College to negotiate and execute all documents necessary to enter a cooperative endeavor agreement with the sublease provision with Ochsner Clinic Foundation for the use of the facility located at 64030 LA 434, Lacombe, Louisiana. This agreement must be filed with the local clerk of court.
You've heard the recommendation. Do you have a motion?
Motion by Supervisor Mount,
Is there a second?
seconded by Supervisor Lozelle.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there discussion? Are there objections? Hearing none, motion carries. Next item, Act 959, project for Nunez Community College. Ms. Cole?
Yes, so this is a request for authorization to proceed with Act 59 project. I think we did one of these last meeting. These are becoming a little bit more common, just to kind of update the board or new members a little bit. Act 959 is a statute from 2003. It authorizes certain capital projects to be undertaken by an institution without having to go through the traditional capital outlay process up to a cap of $10 million. So, and it typically is funded using self-generated funds, auxiliary income grants, etc. In Nunez's case, we anticipate receiving statutorily dedicated funds from the legislature to cover the renovations cost of this facility. The college had previously used some funding from LED for some interior renovations of this building. This is going to allow them to finish the interior renovations, finish the exterior renovations, to continue to grow this program. Yeah, obviously Louisiana, we've seen a lot in the news with space and Artemis and everything. Poised to advance this, LED targets aerospace as one of their priority pillars, leveraging the state's advantages in this regard. The total project budget for this is 9.2 million. So under that threshold, so it really is the proper mechanism for us to move this project forward. The staff recommends that the LCTC System Board of Supervisors authorize the system president and the chancellor of Nunez Community College to complete all necessary requirements and execute all necessary documents to utilize the Act 959 process for the renovation of the aerospace building at the Chalmette campus. Implementation of this process is contingent upon approval from the Board of Regents, Facility Planning and Control, and the Joint Legislative Committee on Budget.
You've heard the recommendation. Is there a motion?
Motion by Supervisor McCollum,
There's a second.
seconded by Supervisor Lewis.
Moved and seconded. Is there discussion? Are there objections? Hearing none, motion carries. Next item is for review and advisement only. Preliminary capital outlay request for fiscal year 2027-2028.
So as is our practice, we typically bring a preliminary capital outlay list to the board. Then we follow it up with a final list. So this allows the time for review, allows colleges to consider it. And then any changes we would bring and update those at the subsequent meeting. This request is slightly different than we've done the last couple of years. I'll kind of go over that. One being, this is the earliest we brought this preliminary report to the board, I think the last 2 years. So some of that is just as we've gone through the last couple of cycles, we've recognized the need to have the projects identified early, to align our efforts with regents from an advocacy standpoint to make sure the projects are prioritized, or at least we have a voice in the prioritization process between regents and division. We also have a couple of changes I'll touch base on in a second, but overall, there's 2 categories in this list. There's what we are considering continuing projects, and those are projects that have received some form of previous funding. Some of these are under construction, some of these need more funds to go to design. There are 8 total projects in that category. And then we have new projects that have not had any previous funding. So in that category, there are 5. So you have a total of 13 projects, which is significantly less than previous years. Part of that is because of the impact of 2 things. Act 751, which is the higher ed deferred maintenance program, has allowed us to fund maintenance projects that typically would have had to go through capital outlays. That's been a very successful program for us. We have currently received $21 million of funding. This year, the legislature appropriated an additional 19 million, of which we'll probably get hopefully about 4 or 5 million of that. Projects that would typically fall in that category, whose scope is too big or whose budgets are too big, we will put those in the capital outlay request. So there's one of those in the new list. And the other thing is the Act 35 program, which I'll talk about in a second. So projects that have been for new construction or campus development that typically would have been here, we've tried to identify those for future funding through Act 35. There are gonna still be projects that have uniqueness about them, or interest legislatively or in the community side that would make it appropriate to go capital outlay. Part of Act 35 requires institutions to come up with a 12% match. Some projects are going to be difficult to come up with that match. So we still use this avenue for those. So that's what, just wanted to point that out. And so what we'll do is we'll just accept feedback. We reviewed this internally, reviewed it with President Nelson from a priority standpoint, and we shared it with the colleges. So happy to entertain any feedback if needed, and then we will bring any potential changes at the next board meeting. Staff recommends that the LCTC System Board of Supervisors accept for review and advisement the fiscal year 2027-2028 capital outlay preliminary list of recommended projects.
Thank you. No action required. Last of the facilities items, Act 35, final phase 1 approval.
So there's a lot of information here, so I'll just kind of go through it, so bear with me. And as I was just speaking of Act 35, for our new members, we're aware Act 35 was a law that was signed, approved by the 2025 regular legislative session, signed into law by Governor Landry in June of 25. And it authorizes financing and construction of capital improvement projects across the system through an alternative financing structure administered in conjunction with the LCTC System Facilities Corporation. And so at the last meeting, the board approved us to proceed with the initial steps for financing and implementation, negotiation of the CEA between the state, the system, and the corporation. That has been completed. So at this point, staff, bond counsel, and the corporation have completed the due diligence associated with the initial implementation. And now we're preparing for the first phase of bond financing. The CEA has been executed. We reported that CEA to the Joint Legislative Committee on the Budget, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago. No issue there. So we're proceeding with our final state approvals based upon that. As part of this request, something in Act 35 that's a little unique compared to our prior bond programs is that this act allows the board to add, modify, or remove projects within the program. There's some legislative requirements for that that we look through. So this time we actually have 2 projects that we are asking to add to the program for phase 1. The first one being Sola CC Morgan City campus for their commercial diving program. A 2025 study commissioned by the college saw an opportunity to redesign that program to better align with current and emerging industry needs. And they, as part of that review, community investment, foundation investment, they were able to achieve their 12% match. The total project cost for that project is $3.5 million. So it was able to fit in. So we wanted to go ahead and add that. They also have some federal funding tied to that expansion. So there's a little bit of a timeline to try to move that forward. So we felt it was appropriate to bring that into phase 1. The second new project is at Soella, the Lake Charles campus for their flight training school. This is actually a project that is currently in design via the Act 959 process. And as part of that project, it's funded with some local funds from the city of Lake Charles and an Economic Development Administration grants. As they got through design, realized the cost of that project was going to exceed the funds they had. And so we started kind of shrinking, and adjusting the design. The funds that they have are able to satisfy their match requirements. So shifting it to Act 35 is going to allow them to fully design it to meet the needs of the college from both the facility standpoint and equipment standpoint for that program. We reviewed each request in conjunction with bond counsel and the corporation. Both projects appear to meet the statutory requirements, so we're asking to add those to the list as well. You have, and I'll read this out too, it's in your memo, obviously, but so we have a final phase 1 project list. Now, each of these projects has either satisfied the match requirement or has identified the match requirement. So we are now in the process of working with the Facilities Corporation to certify those matches. So that's the next step, the final step really prior to bond sale. So of these projects, if any of those are not able to meet that certification timeframe, we will just push them to a subsequent phase of the program. We're currently looking at spring, summer of 27. That could change. It could be a little earlier, it could be a little later, depending upon how the numbers shake out. But currently, the final phase one projects include the Shreveport campus at Northwest, the Bastrop campus at Delta, the Hammond campus at North Shore, the Opelousas campus for Sola CC, Morgan City campus, which we just talked about adding for Sola CC, Lake Charles for Suella, new project, and the Lamar Salter Leesville campus for Suella. So for a total, right now, the total estimated phase one cost is $131.5 million. So that number is going to probably adjust as we get closer to final certifications. We are in the final programming stages to identify budgets. So I do expect that number to tick up or down slightly. So I think we'll probably just bring that back as an update to the board once we have a final phase one, once we get to that bond sale.
The 12% match, is that in global of all the projects or is it per project?
It is per project. So each institution has to come up with that 12%.
So it's pledged or in hand? The Shreveport is in hand, right?
In hand, yes, sir. Yeah, so specifically for cash donations or matches, that cash has to be all in hand. There's some things that on the donor side that, they can pledge to the foundation, but the foundation then has to have the match in hand to certify from the corporation. So in that project specifically, that match is in hand and that will be an instant certification for them. So I think I'll read the recommendation. This is a long one. So staff recommends that the LCTC System Board of Supervisors ratify the execution of the Act 35 Cooperative Endeavor Agreement, authorize the system president and the vice president of administration to execute all associated documents necessary to implement phase one of the Act 35 facilities program, approve the final phase one project list for Act 35, including the addition of the Sola CC Morgan City campus project and the Suella Technical Community College Lake Charles campus project, and to authorize staff to seek all necessary approvals to proceed to financing activities associated with the phase one bond sale. The executed CEA and related documents will be maintained in the office of the Vice President of Administration.
And you've heard the recommendation. Is there a motion?
Motion by Supervisor Mount, seconded by Supervisor Hall.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there discussion? Are there objections? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
This time we'll move on to finance. And I will ask Supervisor Butler McIntyre, are you prepared to handle the finance action items for consideration by the board?
Ready, Mr. Chair?
Thank you. Proceed.
And we will move to item number 14. Professional services contract between LCTC Systems, Board of Supervisors, and outside legal counsel. You ready, Tony?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Chair Hardy and board members, good to see you this morning. Here to ask for and recommend approval of the renewal of the existing legal services contract with Jones Walker. The board authorized that initial contract back in October of last year, and this is simply a renewal of that existing contract. And I'll go ahead and read the staff recommendation. Staff recommends that LCTC System Board of Supervisors approve the renewal of the existing legal services contract with Jones Walker LLP. If approved, the total contract value will be $175,000 for the period beginning July 1st, 2026 and ending June 30th, 2027. This renewal is contingent upon the approval of the Office of the Attorney General, the Office of the General Counsel, and the Office of State Procurement.
You've heard the recommendation. Is there a motion?
Motion by Supervisor Mount, second by Supervisor Hogan.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there discussion? Is there opposition? Hearing none, the motion.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now move to number 15 on our agenda. Tuition and mandatory fees for academic year 2026, 2027. Dr. LeBeau.
Yes, thank you. Good morning again. Ultimately, every year the staff brings forward a recommendation, should there be an interest or request to increase tuition and fees, and mandatory fees specifically for our colleges. Ultimately, what I'd like to make note about is, some of you may have also followed ultimately, this legislative session about some autonomy around tuition increases and colleges and presidents and chancellors having that autonomy. With that being said, though, we also look closely at what we charge as our current institution rate compared to the Southern Regional Education Board's average. So to make that note, we are charging with current annual tuition and fees, the mandatory fees of about $4,255, which is ultimately reported. The regional data charges and within the similar community colleges around $3,790. So we're also a little above the average already in terms of the regional average and where we stand regionally. So it's important that we don't necessarily consider an increase in tuition mandatory fees to make sure that we remain affordable and marketable for our students across the state. There were things that happened historically in 2025 session and the 2025 board meeting where we talked about the removal of the mandatory tuition attendance fee cap for students enrolled in those programs that had 13 to 15 credit hours or higher. So colleges could draw down a little bit more revenue without outpricing and remaining competitive. At the same time, we've also been mindful of following the state's budget and the investment made into higher education. And this year, as we reported out, we are giving additional funds this year to create some stability for over this next year. So when you look at that level of approach, ultimately, we feel that leaving the tuition and mandatory fees at the current rate provides the assurance for our prospective students regarding the potential financial responsibilities that they have in attending our institutions. Another leverage that we're looking at, though, is the ultimately opportunity of looking at potentially adding in an admissions application fee that we currently don't have. And what this would do would also help with the associated processing, procedure, and operational costs from the admission standpoint of working with our students. Without an admissions fee and without certain continued parameters, we receive over about 500,000 applications annually. We should be probably receiving about 120,000 of solid applications annually. And so when you add a little fee, it also requires ultimately the individual to be intentional about wanting to apply and making sure that they're taking the next journey. At the same time, we continue to have what we call the identity compromised applications of students who are working through applying, and we're trying diligently putting the measures in place to catch those individuals who are applying with the wrong identity to draw down federal aid. The U.S. Department of Education is working on it. Our colleges have put parameters in place. We had a fraud detection engine in place as well, but adding this will add another layer to maybe help resolve some of those components. And so what we're looking to do in terms of the recommendation, I'll read it, is staff recommends that the LCTC Board of Supervisors not increase tuition and mandatory fees at the Louisiana Community Technical Colleges for the academic year 2026-2027. However, staff recommends the assessment of a student application fee not to exceed $20 for students applying to the Louisiana Community Technical Colleges beginning in the spring 2027 semester, with the system president authorized to implement guidelines for the administration of the fee.
You've heard the recommendation. Is there a motion?
Motion by Supervisor Bound, seconded by Supervisor Hogan.
Is there any, been motion then seconded, is there any discussion? Is there any opposition?
Actually, I'm sorry, I have one question. I understand it's not to exceed $20. Do we know when we'll have?
So spring 2027 is the goal to implement the collection of the fee. So we're going to begin working on the continued necessary steps in partnership of our colleges of making sure we're adding that in. And so any student applying for spring semester would potentially begin the charge. If we don't start the charge to October or November, December, it's those applying for spring. Some may apply for spring now and not have the charge. We will turn it on at an appropriate time.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Any objection? That motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor McIntyre. At this time, we'll move to governance. Supervisor Mount,
Yes,
are you prepared to present the governance action item for discussion by the board?
yes, I am. So, governance action item number 16. Nominations for the 2026-2027 LCTC System Board Officers. Per revised statute 42-4, the governance committee provides the following recommendation for the first and second vice chair. The motion is that the board approve the governance committee's recommendations of appointing Supervisor Cynthia Butler McIntyre as first vice chair and Supervisor Sabrina Hogan as second vice chair, effective July 1, 2026, ending on July 30th, 2027. Because this motion comes directly from the governance committee, there is no need for a second. With that said, all in favor of approving the recommendation, say yes.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Let's see, 17, this is a location change of the LCTC system. It's hard to say. I'm thinking of saying LCTCS. Supervisor committee.
Yeah, so this is a continued effort to renovate our previous facility over on the BRCC campus. And so I think it's not going to be ready for our next meeting. And so right now, the staff recommends that LCTC System Board of Supervisors approve a location change for the August 12th, 2026 board meeting to be held at Baton Rouge Community College Ardendale campus, which is right here, located at 2115 Lobdell Boulevard, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, 70806.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion by Supervisor Liddell, seconded by Supervisor McConduit.
Any discussion? Any objection? Hearing none, that motion passes.
Before we proceed to personnel, I'd just like to congratulate both Supervisor Cynthia Butler McIntyre, as first vice chair, and Supervisor Sabrina Hogan, as second vice chair. Can we give them a hand? We'll get ready.
Now, I promise it would be easy.
Don't
go
have
there.
your fingers crossed. So next, first personnel, at this time, you're back up with Supervisor Butler McIntyre.
I am ready.
You prepared to present the personnel action item for consideration by the board?
Mr. Chair, I'm ready. We're down to number 18. Personnel, and Toby's here. Revisions to LCTC system policy number 6.003, leave for unclassified employees.
Yes, so we brought this policy last meeting as review and advisement, so today we're bringing it for final approval. This was an update to clarify some confusion around leave usage and terminal pay. Also to make sure that the references for leave are in line with the statutory requirements. So staff recommends that the LCTC System Board of Supervisors approve the attached revisions to LCTC System Policy number 6.003, leave for unclassified employees.
You've heard the recommendation. Is there a motion?
Motion by Supervisor Mount, seconded by Supervisor McConduit.
Motion and seconded. Is there discussion? Is there discussion? Opposition? Motion has not carried. We have moved to number 19. Revisions to LCTC's system policy number 6.011, prohibition and prevention of discrimination, harassment, and retaliation.
Yes, so this policy again was brought last meeting for review and advisement. It's a response to Louisiana House Resolution 167 that urged public post-secondary educational institutions to implement policies and procedures to combat anti-Semitism on campus. The update incorporates specific language and definitions regarding anti-Semitism as requested in that resolution by the legislature. Staff recommends that the LCTC System Board of Supervisors approve the attached revisions to LCTC System Policy number 6.011, prohibition and prevention of discrimination, harassment, and retaliation.
You've heard the recommendation. Is there a motion?
Motion by Supervisor Day, second by Supervisor McConaughey.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Any opposition? The motion has carried. We are now to number 20, review and advisement, revisions to LCTC System Policy number 6.010, unclassified staff performance evaluation.
Yes, so currently we have two separate policies regarding performance evaluations, one for unclassified staff and one for faculty. As a reminder, classified staff in the civil service system are governed by the civil service rules. We've reviewed this. We've had a lot of conversations about performance evaluation, performance management. Currently, a structure is really a one-size-fits-all instrument that is, as we talked about it, have seen needs to have some flexibility based upon institutional needs. So the one-size-fits-all framework we just didn't feel was really appropriate moving forward. So this would allow colleges to develop systems that directly align with their specific mission and culture while still maintaining standards. This policy will still require performance evaluation to happen. It just will allow the colleges to do that in the manner in which works for them. And it just creates a broad overall policy at the system level. Staff recommends that the LCTC System Board of Supervisors accept for review and advisement the attached revisions to LCTC System Policy number 6.010, unclassified staff performance evaluation. This policy serves as a high-level framework for how unclassified staff and faculty are evaluated and developed.
You've heard the recommendation, but no action is required at this time. We will move to number 21, review and advisement, new LCTC system policy, number 6.045, dual enrollment.
So this policy is intended to eliminate ongoing confusion regarding employees who hold multiple positions within the system. We've had a couple situations that have popped up that kind of prompted, we had questions about, is there a policy that governs this? And so what this policy is going to do is it ensures that when an employee who's employed by a primary institution wants to work for a secondary institution, there's requirements for that employee to inform primary institution, and then the chancellor or point authority having the ability to approve that prior to that secondary employment happening. It also will allow the secondary institution to be aware that that employee may be employed by another institution. So it's really kind of getting everything, transparent between the two for the benefit of both the employee and the institutions.
Before you read the recommendation, just point of order, dual employment and not dual enrollment.
Yeah, I was gonna correct myself. I hear dual, I hear enrollment.
Staff recommends the LCTC System Board of Supervisors accept for review and advisement the attached new LCTC System Policy number 6.045, dual employment.
You've heard the recommendation, no action is required. We'll move to number 22, review and advisement, retirement of LCTC System Policy number 6.502, faculty performance evaluation.
So this is the second policy I referenced 2 items ago. We had the unclassified employee evaluation. This is the faculty performance evaluation. So this request is to retire this policy as we're proposing to merge them into the new overall policy. Staff recommends that the LCTC System Board of Supervisors accept for review and advisement the retirement of LCTC System Policy number 6.502, faculty performance evaluation. This policy will no longer be needed due to the proposed revisions of LCTC System Policy number 6.010, which will cover all performance evaluation management for classified staff and faculty.
You've heard the recommendation, however, no action is required. Number 23 is pending and potential litigation or settlement authority. and there's no discussion or action needed on that item. Mr. Chair, this concludes the personnel report.
Thank you, Supervisor Butler McIntyre. This time I'd like to reference the updates, and I encourage the board members to review the information provided and to officially lock in Supervisor Butler McIntyre and Supervisor Holden along with Attorney Matthew Kern, if you would all come forward, the swearing in for first vice chair and second vice chair, so we'll have you officially down.
So we can't get out of it.
Nope.
Looks like we're actually gonna do these one at a time.
Okay.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Cynthia Butler McIntyre,
You solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States
the Constitution and laws of this state,
and the Constitution and laws of this state,
and I will faithfully and impartially discharge
and I will faithfully and impartially discharge
and perform the duties incumbent upon me
and perform the duties incumbent upon me
as first vice chair of the Board of Supervisors
as first vice chair of the Board of Supervisors
for the Community and Technical College System,
for the Community and Technical College System,
according to the best of my ability and understanding.
according to the best of my ability and understanding.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Sabrina Hogan,
You solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States
that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of this state,
and the Constitution and laws of this state,
and I will faithfully and impartially discharge
and I will faithfully and impartially discharge
and perform the duties incumbent upon me
and perform the duties incumbent upon me
as second vice chair of the Board of Supervisors
as second vice chair of the Board of Supervisors
for the Community and Technical College System,
for the Community and Technical College System,
according to the best of my ability and understanding.
according to the best of my ability and understanding.
So help me God.
So help me God.
And thank you both so very much for your willingness to serve. Supervisor Mount told me that she will take care of.
That's right. No words.
So this time, I'd like to ask if there's any additional business to come before the board. I have a few announcements. First is the annual mandatory LCTC board training schedule for 2026 was sent out to you, all board members via email. The second set of training is due on July 24th. Please let Ms. Poole know if you need further assistance. Evaluation information for system president, board, and self-evaluations will be sent out next week via email. Please be on the lookout for that. And the LCTC annual conference will take place from September 22nd to 25th at the Hyatt Regency in New Orleans. Please add these dates to your calendar and be on the lookout for more information come soon.
Chair, if I may add, we have not received any public comments.
Okay, so for the record, no public comments.
Yes, sir.
With that, I request a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion by Supervisor Butler McIntyre.
It is,
Second by
I don't
Supervisor
even think we need